Plenty of time. Sorry. Good start.
Hello and welcome back to the Your Everyday Strength podcast. I've forgotten it already. I'm going to cut that. Let's start again.
Why? That was good. That's good content.
Hello and welcome back to the Your Everyday Strength podcast. My name is Josh Sternberg. If you are just tuning in for the first time, thank you very much for being here. If you are returning, again, thank you for tolerating me and coming back and listening. Today, as you can see, if you're watching, if you're not watching, you can't see shit. But we have a guest, the man himself, Mr. Brandon Greco of Epic Coaching. And I'm going to let him give a little overview, as always, a little bit of an insight into who he is.
Well, put on spot, which is always ironic because when I used to do this, we do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I know. I used to listen to you teach
and I'm just like, far out. How did they handle it? Now being on the other side, it's nice being on the other side.
You had a time limit, didn't you?
We had like
introduced a time limit or word
limit?
limit?
No, word limit. That's right. 20 words to describe yourself. Jeez, that's right.
All right, well, there we go. 20 words to describe yourself.
Okay, I can do that. All right. Ready?
That's one.
Strength coach, powerlifting coach, husband, dog dad, competitor. I'm going to cap out there. Whatever that is. I think that describes me in a team.
Perfect.
That's actually a lot harder than I remember.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So apologies to every other previous guest we've had on the potty I used to run. That was torment.
There you go. I've gotten payback for every single person who's ever been a guest there.
Wow.
Now he knows what it feels like.
Yeah.
I just remember listening to it and being like, fuck, some of these people just shit the bed on it.
It was hilarious because like we were very privileged, man. Like I've had a very privileged coaching career, if you want to call it that, of getting to meet some really big people in the industry. And you throw that question out of them. People have done like keynote speaking, competed on the biggest platforms, or spoken at some of the biggest events in the world. And they get to this question and they just shit the bed. And you're like, doesn't make sense, but we'll go with it. And I'm like, now on the other side, I do 100% understand the anxiety that comes with it. You're like, fuck, what am I?
You forget everything that
you
do.
Yeah, so
I do it all the time. I say things and I'm like, I don't know if that's like, I don't know where that's come from.
Yeah, like, do I need to edit that or leave it? I did like though. As I said to you before, like I was listening to your very first episode and then your latest one as well. Very consistent with the intro. It's always the same. I love that.
Yeah. I got that down to an art.
Yeah,
I originally recorded an intro that I was just going to like map in every time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd just rather just do it on the spot and fucking...
Dude, you nailed it.
Hope for the best and see what happens.
Fucking nice.
Repetition.
Because this is episode 20...
This is going to be number 22.
Dude, when I actually looked... obviously, when you... Firstly, honoured to be on.
Thank you.
But when you asked me to be on, and then I went back, I was like, I'll do my research and get a good understanding of what the podcast is about and everything like that. I thought you'd been doing this for like years.
I was on the Nexus potty.
That's probably why I think that.
Yeah,
actually.
so
that makes more sense.
I've had a few guests who are like, oh, you've been like, there's a couple of guests that we've had from both podcasts. And I was the co-host of that for like the last nearly 12 months or something.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, right. That's probably why
quite a lot of podcasts,
like, Yeah, okay. Because your first episode was like, you can see like first one of a new one, and then you got a lot more comfortable as the episode went on, and then that last one, I was like, oh, he's just in it. Yeah. Just completely comfortable. It was so good. I loved it.
Yeah, I think and you would know this yourself from having the potty and everything like that for years. It's one of those, you have to get really good at talking and articulating yourself when you talk to yourself.
Yes.
You're obviously fortunate. You had a guest for the most part.
Yeah.
Like a co-host and guests and stuff. Like, it's helped me to be a little bit more coherent with my thoughts, a little bit succinct in the way in which I talk, and like just on the spot.
Yeah.
So half the time I might have a couple of notes depending upon the episode and the structure in which I want to follow so that I don't go too fucking left of field and just off on a little tangent and then forget where I'm at. But yeah, it's helped with like content, just talking in general with clients and shit.
100%.
Like it's fucking...
It makes you be very specific about what you want to say because if you, as you know, like if you start a potty and obviously if it's just you and you start talking, but you end up like, this was your point, but you end up over here. All this in between is most likely, like, there could be some real gold in there, but people will just go, but I thought he was talking about this.
Yeah.
And then just switch off to all this.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree. As soon as you get better at talking, especially in a one-on-one, like to a camera, which did you find confronting when you first started?
Not really, because I started this in April, and I'd been working with a biz coach from December who'd started to get me doing a lot more talking to phone content.
Yeah.
Just speaking directly to the phone. And I used to do it a fair bit anyway. Like, I don't mind talking to the camera or just the phone in general. Pardon me. So I'd kind of like been okay with it. I think it comes down to comfortability because I'm confident in what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
It's like once you learn to be a little bit more vulnerable and like you become comfortable with that, it's like.
I really liked in that first episode as well. You're just like, I'm going to fuck up.
Yeah.
100%.
I'll try and leave it in.
Yeah.
Too much of the time. I just leave it in. I'm like, fuck. Like,
they're the best parts.
I don't cut out some of the stuff. I'm just like, whatever.
Like, it creates an authentic response from the audience as well. Like, they know you're authentic.
Yeah.
They're going to buy into that a lot more. Like, if you were just so fucking perfect, like, it almost creates a disparity.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I don't want to listen to this guy because I don't know about you, man, but I've always been like of that mindset that, you know, when you surround yourself with those good people, right, who are achieving things constantly, but it also highlights the gap for other people that they haven't achieved things. And I've always found that if you just put out this thing like, oh, I'm just this perfect, whatever, learned that quickly the hard way, that you're going to lose a lot of people around you because it's like, that's not real.
Yeah, it's not relatable.
100%.
It's one thing that, like, even from very, very early days, social media, like posts way back before I was even just starting as a PT.
Yeah.
Where I'd be like, tell people my fuck ups, or I'd tell people when I'm struggling, or like try and offer that authentic side, because for me it was always, well, I don't see people doing this, but I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you do that, and again, you would know this, it's like, then you have people reach out and they're like, dude, thank you. Or like,
literally,
I related to this, or this was great, or, you know, I've really appreciated it. Or I have people in the gym, they'll come up to me randomly and be like, oh, so I was listening to like X podcast, I really loved this and all that. I was like, holy fuck. Like,
yeah. It's crazy the impact like you can have, especially like if you're just not aware of something that could be so simple for you. Like, I really loved your first episode explaining your story and how vulnerable it was. And I was just like, one, fuck, bro, like a lot of similarities in our stories. But just the authenticness and vulnerability, like that would have been amazing, and just allow people in their own lives to be that. Because like, oh, I don't know why, but I feel like we all need that permission to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And unless you've got a good circle around you, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I loved that first episode.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you. Well, there you go. If you haven't listened to the first episode, go back and listen to that one.
Great episode.
But to further elaborate a little bit on a couple of the points you mentioned at the start within your 20 words, you mentioned coach, strength coach, all of this sort of stuff. I want to kind of give, because anybody who may have listened to your previous podcast or followed you or even just know who you are within the industry, you've been around for a very bloody long time now.
Yep, my hairline is showing it, the colouring and the thinning of it. Yep.
Give people who may not have had much of an exposure to you just a little bit more insight into you, your brand, where you've sort of come from.
Right. Well, firstly, I've been coaching now for 15 years, which is just astounding.
That's wild.
I actually so I've been coaching for 15 years, whether it be personal training. Like, I started off in that personal training model. Group fitness model. So I went through and did my Cert 3 and 4 as a school-based trainee. So like grade 11, I was going to be a chippy. Made some rep footy teams playing union league with school, and was kind of like, they kind of clashed with the days I was on a work site, and I was like, no, like I liked it. I did good in, woodwork, whatever you want to call it, in school. But I was never really like, this is my 100% thing. So when the opportunity came up just to focus on footy, I was like, no, I'm just going to do that. So I kind of coasted through grade 11, didn't do much. And then I remember in grade 12, they came up to me and they're like, you need to do something. You can't just walk out with your, if you're not doing OP pathway back then, which I think it's now ATAR, you got to do something else. I was like, oh, fine. And I'd just been approached by a friend of mine who was starting this company around Cert 3 and 4 in school-based trainees. They wanted to get into that. Some really good government funding back then. Not sure if it's like that now, but jumped in on that. Loved going to the gym, loved training in the gym, especially around, footy and stuff like that. I'd recently worked incredibly hard in between grade 11 and 12 to put on weight, to play first 15 rugby, to make another squad at school, which was like one of the best Christmas holidays of my life. Like I tell people all the time, like I lived the life of an IFBB pro without the physique or status.
Perfect.
Mate, it was great. Couldn't believe it. Shout out to my mum for buying, I remember she would buy my protein, Body Science back in the day. They had this Nitrovol, it was called. And it was
I remember Nitrovol.
Yeah, right? Like 34 grams protein, 34 gram carbs.
Yeah.
Their creatine myocytin. Remember that?
I remember it was multiple different variants.
Bro, it was 5 grams of creatine with 35 grams of carbs.
Perfect.
And I was like, I look back now and I put on a heap of weight back then to play, but I look back now and go, yeah, it makes sense. I was just consuming so many carbohydrates. It wasn't the creatine really. Obviously that would have helped, but it wasn't that. It was just my calorie intake was so fucking high and I just trained and slept. It was the life, and that really pushed me to love everything. And similar to your story, when I listened to your potty, I'd be opening up bodybuilding magazines. Internet wasn't as big as it is now or easily as accessible back. Fuck, I feel old saying that. But I remember the old dial-up and shit like that. So I was on my the old computer outside just fucking trying to research things. And I'd get a bodybuilding mag and I'd see Ronnie Coleman's back workout was 40 sets of lat pull-down variation. So I remember I went to the gym the next day and did 40 sets of these varying lat pull-downs. Couldn't lift my arms above my head for the next week. But I digress a bit there, and that's how I kind of got into it. So when this opportunity came up to study it, I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Cert 3 took about 6 months in this school-based setting where I would also work as a group fitness instructor and go out to primary schools and teach basic skills to primary school kids. It was a great gig. I got 1 day a week off school where I'd get paid to go do this. I was like, fuck, this is great. I'm living the life here. And then that translated to, I think by term 3 of that year, I was like, I really want to give this PT thing a crack. I think I can do something with it. And the opportunity came up for me to study my Cert 4. Grateful. My mum was like, here's the money for it, go do it. I was like, sweet. So I didn't do that as a traineeship, unfortunately, but I walked away with a Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. Around that time, I kind of got into a bit of what I look back now as a very toxic relationship, which was and I had some external pressure from my old man. I came from a very traditional Italian family, right? Religious, used to go to church every Sunday type thing. And that wasn't me. I'm very, very much aware. But my dad worked hard in his own business, built this really good auto electrician business. So when I was like, oh, I think I'm going to be a personal trainer, he was immediately like, the fuck? You're not going to make money. What the hell are you doing? Type thing. And I was like, whatever. And then in this other toxic relationship, kind of had the same mentality. So I ended up in teaching, right? So didn't do OP, but because I had a Cert 4, I actually got accepted into secondary education.
Yeah.
Love teaching kids. Love having banter, which is why it's secondary. And I love PE. I was like, okay, I will kind of tick those things. At the time, I went to uni after school, had my Cert 4, was just working with that company that did my Cert 3. I was doing some group fitness classes and things like that. And I was also began teaching the Cert 3 in their system to the new generation of school-based trainees. Cool job, which was great. Got to revise a lot of the content that I'd worked with.
Yeah.
And then I was obviously studying at uni. Hated it. I fucking hate it. I'm not a lecture hall type guy.
Yep.
So immediately shifted gears because I got a job at a supplement store. Took that. Similar sort of thing. I was really good at talking about supplements. was really good at selling supplements. I think it's because I can talk a lot. For anyone who's listening to this pod, he's like, oh yeah, you can talk a lot.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. And so then that kind of snowballed into the fact that I got bored of just doing supplements.
Yeah.
Dropped out of uni because I fucking hated it. And was like, I'm just going to go all in on this PT thing again. So luckily I was training at Good Life Chermside back in the day. And they're like, do you want a job? Sweet. Started there. And it was one of the toughest environments ever. Obviously you're competing against, and I was a skinny kid. Like, I think out of high school, 2 years out of high school, I was probably like 75 kilos, 6'2", going into a big, very like no, I don't want to say aggressive, but you walk into a Good Life gym as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and bear in mind around this time I had zero confidence, all this stuff, and not really much athletic ability left after high school. And I'm going against some like big jack dudes up on gear who like, not unfortunately, that's the wrong word, but they kind of steal the spotlight in those environments. So as a young PT competing against 33 others who are well more qualified and successful, it was one of the greatest learning experiences of my life. Tough, obviously back then, but a lot of those lessons learned is still what I apply today in the business 15 years on. And it kind of snowballed from there. Like, spent time there, I think it's 2 years there. And then I met a coach, a strength coach I was working with in supplements. He was opening his own gym. And he's like, do you want a job? Why don't you coach here? He started doing some mental stuff with him. He was a powerlifter. And back then I thought powerlifting was Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah.
I was like, when you do the snatch. And he's like, no. And now I have the same reaction when other people say the same thing to me. But worked with him for a few years and it just snowballed. Like, I competed, and this was back when powerlifting was like just before the boom.
Yeah.
Like, I got in 2013, 2014, just before it really went bang. So I always look at myself as very lucky to be where I am today, because a lot of it was timing, being in the right place at the right time. And it just snowballed from there. I did my first comp, had some success, went to my first nationals back when GPC nationals didn't do invite only. So like you just competed at states, anyone could go. Did that the following year, 2016, got invited, like a third round invite. And it just snowballed from there, man.
Yeah.
Like, now it's, 8 years on, and I'm very proud to say I've got a very successful team behind me. Like, I've got 2 coaches underneath me now. So that sounds bad. I've got 2 coaches that work with me now. I don't like that phrase, so apologies, but got a massive team of lifters who just crush it at every comp. Like, now I've been able to take a step back from the one-on-one stuff and go back into coaching with the Redcliffe Dolphins Host Plus Cup side, so their Queensland Cup side, as a strength and power coach. Big 2 interests of mine, like outside of powerlifting, is NRL and then just coaching. That combined both of them for me.
Yeah.
So I spent the last 3 years there, and we've had some great success there as well. I guess that's me in a nutshell, my career.
Fuck yeah. It's actually so funny how many similarities we actually had.
Genuinely,
going through,
bro.
like, genuinely
When I listened to,
I was like,
bro,
fuck, Good Life. Yep, that was first gym as well. Like,
yep. When I listened to your story, I was like, fuck. Like, obviously, I kind of glazed over the top of a lot of the good stuff, but even like the other side of the tough times, I was like, fuck, I relate to this so well. I was in supplements as well. I was a Queensland state rep for this company that no longer exists, I will say. You remember G&T?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I opened their Carindale store.
Yeah.
We were going to open up in one in Townsville before it all folded and everything like that. But like, I was their Queensland state manager for a bit at like 19, before I moved just straight into coaching.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. That's actually funny as.
Yeah, dude, I was like shocking. I was shocked. Because like, obviously we've known each other for how long now? Like, since 2020? 2019?
Yeah, probably 2020.
Yeah.
Would have been around 2020 because I first competed. No, maybe it was 2019. I can't even remember, but it was somewhere around there.
Like, I've known you for ages, right?
Very long time, yeah.
And like, we've always had a good relationship at comps. Probably never stopped to actually been able to stop at a comp and have this like a proper chat.
Yeah.
as anyone knows who's been to a comp, there's never a fucking, you can barely scratch your own ass.
Yeah.
But then I was listening to this pod, I was like, your potty, sorry, and I was like, holy cunt, like, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Across the whole way.
That's fucking wild, eh? It's weird how I kind of had a couple people come on and like just journeys and paths and things like that. And I don't think it's any coincidence, because I believe a lot of the reasons why, like you and me, Joel, for example, is we share very similar values, morals, etc. And we've had very similar experiences with both the good and the bad stuff. And that has allowed us to like obviously have different perspectives from what other people might have. And I do find that anybody who has gone through things with mental health and things with those side of things, they have this, I'm going to say, empathy and understanding of humans just as a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that people who haven't gone through it don't have those experiences, don't have that relatability, but you're almost like, it's of that mind that like you always want to be friendly, nice, happy, etc. And then that kind of just opened you up to better abilities to create relationships with
100%.
people. Because I remember like my very, very, very first comp that I ever handled a client at, you were there. It was
Valhalla?
Valhalla novice comp.
Sure, probably, yeah.
And I remember sitting there that day and like, I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Because you had
Most
like
people say that.
20 or 30 clients, and you were like, every single time there was like a lifter, you were standing behind the plates and like yelling at them and geeing everyone up. And I was like, dude, who is this? Yeah. And then from there, I basically followed you and then started to listen to the potty from that point and like just started gelling. I think I reached out at one point and just messaged you and had some chats and things like that. And then, as anyone who's been around powerlifting knows, you get to know all the other coaches. You see each other quite a lot at comps. Yeah. You randomly run into each other at comps, at gyms.
It's like every big national event is just like an opportunity. It's like a family reunion, essentially.
It's like a catch up.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, shit, I got to actually coach here as well. I can't just sit here and talk to everyone.
It's good. I love it because it definitely highlights the fact of like, you know, the old, you've seen powerlifting grow. I've seen powerlifting grow from like my first APL nationals wasn't invited either. It was, you did this, you're in. It's like, I'd had no right to be at a national event with the total that I'd achieved.
Literally, bro.
But I did it and I was like, fuck, I came third. There was only 4 people in the thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Third.
100%. You're the third best lifter on that day.
Exactly. And it's just kind of like allowed us to see the growth. And then every time you catch up with like the other coaches, you're like, okay, well, a rising tide lifts all ships. Because by you bringing a bigger team every year, it opens more eyes to powerlifting through a flow-on effect. By me bringing a bigger team every year, it has a flow-on effect because now more people are exposed to powerlifting. They're like,
100%.
Fuck, what's this thing? Like it's different. It's cool.
It's really good powerlifting now. It's come out of that underground kind of gang mentality that really kind of, regardless of whether you like it or not, that's how it started. And we've got to be thankful for it.
Yeah.
But now that it's become what it is, and like we look at what APL's become and how exciting that future is, and we look at what APL Nationals have just done and what a fucking incredible comp weekend that was. The future of powerlifting looks so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I said that in that APL episode was powerlifting's no longer the preconceived idea that it's the fat bald dude in the gym with blood pressure problems who's smacking down a fucking gallon of milk or some shit in the middle of his sets. It's this small, athletic, lean everyone. Like everyone is so much more jacked and leaner than I've ever seen. Still got the big dudes. Still got the absolute fucking monsters. But I've seen a shift for like
health.
Prioritization of health. People realizing they can actually achieve things still and set fucking massive records.
And that's where something like APL is definitely the biggest federation right now.
Yeah,
there's no arguments there. You just have to look at their nationals. But that's where federations like APL and Capo especially as well have given that like pathway for your masters lifters, for your juniors lifters. I think Capo do it really well right now. And I think APL are probably, I reckon APL are probably still doing the best right now, but having it all together, their national event, like you got all your categories and all that stuff, right? But those two big federations, which I would believe are the biggest in the country, do so well, not just to attract what we were talking about, those lean, athletic, healthy, whatever you want to call it, athletic style lifters now, but they're bringing more eyes to the sport from a different perspective. Like, let's bring masters in. And you know why? Because that fucking 70-year-old probably has kids or grandkids that are going to have eyes on the sport and go talk.
Yep.
And that is probably the best, outside of what powerlifting has done, all the records and the numbers we see now. That's what I love.
Yep.
I think it has just been brilliant for the sport and keeps people accountable to something as they get older.
100%. I like every single time you see a masters lifter go out, no matter who you're there supporting, no matter who your lifters are, no matter what. You see like 60, 70, I've seen 80-year-olds going out and you're like, dude, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like, I remember it was probably, would have been APL Nationals 2 years ago. And there was an older gentleman there. He was like late 70s, early 80s, I believe. And he was competing. And it was just so cute. His wife was there.
Yeah.
Just this like cute little old lady was just hanging out at this massive powerlifting comp. And then his kids.
Yeah.
And then the grandkids. And it was like the whole family was there supporting him. And it's just, it goes to show that like there is really no barrier to entry with it.
No.
Which I think is phenomenal. And anything that encourages people to get stronger, maintain strength into old age is fucking great.
100%.
You would see it yourself with everyone.
I've always looked at, so my former coach, Johnny Bebab, one of the GOATs, and what I look to be is one of the GOATs in Australian powerlifting and what he's done for the sport, especially in Queensland. He's got master lifter Peter Baskerville, who's like in his late 70s now. I hope I've got that right. And he's still pulling like 250.
That's sick.
And then you've got Terence Titus, who is one of the GOATs of the industry, right? Chiropractor from Trinidad, big bloke. He'd be late 60s, early 70s. He's still pulling 300.
It's insane, eh?
300. And he still trains. And it's one of the greatest things of it. Like, he's so old school. He still trains deadlifts on a 25 kilo squat bar to improve his grip.
Perfect.
From a deficit where he's pulling from his ankles.
Because
that's what they just used to do. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I got to pull 280 triple from a deficit, like whatever, 3-inch deficit on a squat bar and a hook grip. And I'm like, bro, I could never do that.
I couldn't hook grip with my thumb.
Literally, bro. Like, I can't hook grip, let alone pull 280 from a 3-inch deficit. And this guy's just fucking rocking up and just ripping deadies.
I love that. And it's fucking, it honestly, it highlights a lot of conversation around nowadays with the fucking advancement of social media. You said yourself, when you were first looking, it was bodybuilding mags and dial-up internet, so there wasn't much around. When I was first looking, it was bodybuilding.com and that it was still.
You know what I really loved though? Sorry to interrupt, but you know what I really loved about your story? Is that I fucking really frothed on with that Steve Cook college thing.
Yeah.
Bro, that was the GOAT thing at the time.
Program at the
it
time.
was unreal, like at that time. And I just remember watching all his videos.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to meet him once at some show he did at, not show, but like a meet and greet at Nutrition Warehouse.
I met him too at a Nutrition Warehouse meeting.
Damn here, eh? Yeah, we were probably at the same one. I was like, he was the GOAT back then.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, him and, what was it, Sean? Fuck, what was the other blonde dude's name? He was like a British dude. Had like the longer hair. He was more of like the Prince Charming sort of vibe.
Yeah.
I've got a photo with him somewhere. But all I cared about was meeting Steve because I was like, I straight up said to him, I was like, bro, I followed your like college plan. That got me through uni.
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, sweet, man. Cheers. I was like, I love you. I waited here for 2 hours for this. This is perfect.
100%.
That's fucking funny as all hell.
Did you meet Kai Green at Nutrition Warehouse?
I have, yes.
Yeah, I think we're probably at the same one then too.
Yeah.
Down at Ashmore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I had a signed photo from him somewhere. I gave it to my old roommate, business partner.
Right.
I was like, you're in a bodybuilding more than I am now. You can have this.
Yeah.
But where I was more or less getting
Sorry,
at,
yeah.
no, you're all good. I love that because that's fucking, again, that's so weird. The advancement of everything nowadays. And we're starting to sort of see the pendulum swing a little bit, maybe too much the other direction with the advancement of optimal lifting and these dudes who are doing like 1-inch lifts and their little straps. And I don't know if you've seen much of it.
I have a real, so I'm like, this is where I've always like, I've been on other podcasts and they ask me like, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Like, I use social media for the modality that is to promote my message and things like that. I don't absorb much powerlifting content outside of that because this is going to sound really fucking weird. I couldn't give a shit.
No, I think that I love it.
Don't care anything about what some super obscure lift has done or whatever. The only powerlifting I care about is my community and the people in front of me and what they're lifting. I can tell you all the best lifts of my clients and what they've done, where they've come from. Couldn't tell you what the biggest name in powerlifting right now is. Like, obviously it's Colton. I'm not that retarded, but I shouldn't say that. I'm not that bad. But like, man, people come up to me and they're like, oh, do you see Thor's 5'10" Daddy? And I'm like, it's not that impressive anymore now that Colton's doing it raw in a 3-lift competition.
Yeah, he's done fucking strap 500 double or something like that. Like
it's just getting insane, and then which doesn't necessarily lead into your point, but I don't really follow much like all these science-based lifters or whatever it is, this new buzzword or whatever it is, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
are we all science-based lifters to some degree?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, and I think that highlights a really important message around like something I'm trying to get better at is creating instead of consuming. Not adding to the noise of the industry and being like trying to reinvent the wheel, because you can't reinvent it. It's just some of these cunts are funny as fuck, and I've seen them in like the gym strapping themselves to shit. And I'm like, bro, the bodybuilders have been doing lat pull downs for years. It works. Really, you don't need to go and move 1 inch of it, like whatever.
And like that's
the thing you were talking about before, like that highlights very similar sentiment that it still fucking works. Like the shit works. Is it optimal to pull a squat bar hook grip 3-inch deficit? No, but it fucking works. The dude's lifted 300. There's not many people who've lifted 300. It's a lot of people's big goal. I mean, when I did it and I was like, well, that's me done. I'm calling it a day. I've lifted 300. I'm out. There we go,
man. It's just like the new age, and it just does my head in. Because that doesn't apply to everyone. A lot of those guys, I would look and go like, you're looking for the 1% of the 1%. 9 times out of 10, you give someone a program where they're gonna have squat pattern twice a week, hinge pattern twice a week, and now that could be one low bar. Say if we're competing, one low bar squat session. You might have a secondary squat pattern as like a safety bar on your deadlift day. You might have an RDL on your squat day, and you might have obviously conventional deadlift, sumo deadlifts on your main day. And you'll throw in some back extensions, throw in some fucking chin ups. That's more than enough for the general person to get significantly stronger.
1,000%.
And you could just Luke Shakespeare. I don't know if you follow Luke Shakespeare, Strength Unlimited. Unlimited on Instagram. Coaches Alana DeQuino.
I know him. Yes. Yeah, I know who he is.
He made a great fucking post probably about a month or two ago. And it's like, this is what people don't understand about powerlifting and progression. He literally said that if you do a meet, you could run the same numbers from the exact same prep again, hit it with a little bit more intent, push your accessories a lot harder, or harder in general, and you'd still get stronger on the platform. And I was just like, the way he articulated was so perfect. And that's what really gripes me about these new age, we've got to do this, and we've got to do this joint angle to increase compression and expansion, all this stuff. I'm like, bro, just lift the fucking weight. Like, at the end of the day, take the stack out of the fucking bar, brace your fucking core, and just hold on to the dear fucking thing. Like, it's not hard, right?
No.
And I think we see more and more people trying to overcomplicate it. Like, and as you said, reinvent the wheel. It's like, bro, we are standing right now on the shoulders of giants that have come before us.
Mm.
Like goats of the industry, like Chad Wesley Smith, you know, what he did with Juggernaut and the AI app he created way back before AI was super well known, right? Your Jordan Shallows of the industry, who's arguably one of the greatest minds in the history of fitness, strength, whatever you want to fucking call it. Like nothing's brand new, you know, and it's kind of gone full circle where we see a lot more guys, just get juicy, just get jacked. It's like, oh my God, bodybuilders were doing that for how long prior?
Yeah.
You know, like it's not rocket science, you know, and I've been lucky enough to make a living of just doing the really basic things so fucking well and being able to repeat that process.
Yeah. And that, funny, I did an episode last week and we were talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect. And the Dunning-Kruger effect. So basically where somebody who knows a little believes they know a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a spectrum, right? So it's it's a graph. It essentially goes like up, comes back down. It's like a bell curve.
Yeah.
One side, the start of the bell curve is like the bro just lift and sleep.
Yep.
Top of the bell curve is like, oh, you have to do this optimal joint angle to do this, blah, 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 fucking blah. The bottom of the bell curve is train with intensity, train smart, sleep, and eat.
Mm.
It's like you're basically saying the exact same shit that the bro was saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe a little bit more specific.
Yep.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yep.
It still works. Nothing changes. And that's fucking it. Because exactly as you nailed it there, it's like, this shit's not complicated. Like powerlifting coaching as a whole, the programming aspect of things, it's not complicated.
Programming aspect is probably the easiest.
I say it all the time to clients. I'm like, I can program for powerlifting in my sleep. Not a single fucking problem. It's more dealing with the human being on the other side of it.
Yep.
That's where you have to be better as a coach.
100%. 100%.
The mental side, the emotional side.
Yep.
Dealing with stresses and external things to the lifting. The lifting fucking, you could almost give the same program to like 5 different people. A couple of slight variations here or there. They're all going to have 5 different experiences external to that, as long as you can control those.
100%.
They're all going to make fucking progress.
It is that simple. And as you said, like it's the man management side of things. That is the key. And you look at any great coaches across any sport, right? They know, like, and look, we probably take it for granted because obviously we've obsessed over how to squat, bench, deadlift for how many years now. Like, so the nuances and the detail of that, like, yes, don't get me wrong, they can be tricky for someone to understand. And like, yeah, it's so easy for me now. I know it's not easy for everyone, but once you get that, once you nail that, it does become pretty easy. Rinse and repeat, right? But the man management, learning to understand those around you or your clients better, or I believe 100% starts with better understanding self. So once you understand yourself, you firstly stop projecting on what people should be doing. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this because there's definitely times where I'm like, to clients, I say something like, I think that applies to me more than them, but that's okay. But once you understand self, it becomes much easier to work with someone because you do develop that empathy. You can acknowledge your own faults. You can acknowledge and hold space, which coaching, 90% is holding space for people to work their own shit out. 100%. And it's just go like, and that's, I think, my whole principle of coaching from, I wouldn't say from the very start, it took me a while to actually articulate it, but I've always had this idea that better people create better lifters and better lifters create better people. Reason being is that if someone becomes more accountable to themselves in their training, they're going to be more accountable to their work environment. They're going to be more accountable in their life, in their relationships with their partner, with their kids, whatever it may be. If they learn some skills around being dedicated, commitment, all these things that powerlifting really does provide, it will drive them. And I've seen it drive people to do more in their own personal life. We had this one lifter and he was bro. He was so strong. Billy Chan. Not many people will remember him. 90 kilos. He would cut to the 90 kilos. He benched 210 at under 90.
Fuck.
He was a thick boy. And I'm very lucky to work with some really smart people. And we had created this really good community. This is like 2015 of like, we were all on this mission to achieve things. And I remember he came into the gym one day and he's like, you know, from someone who looked at this guy, he's got it all, man. He's got some money behind him. He's jacked as all hell. He's fucking competing powerlifting and dominating. Like, he's doing great things. He walks in one day, he's like, oh, I bought a house on the weekend or something. We're like, what the fuck? Like, who just what? He's like, yeah, I just felt like I needed to achieve something because all you guys just keep achieving things. And we're like, that's a good effect. Like, obviously back then it would have been a great investment too. But he's probably, you're welcome, Billy. You probably just made triple on that house. But, you know, like that type of effect, it was super profounding. And I think I realized the power of holding space. I had this client back when I worked at Good Life. One of the most shocking things I've ever heard in my life. But it allowed me to understand the power you can have as a coach is, we were sitting there, she was having trouble time. I was like, look, we're not going to train today. Let's grab coffee. Something's going on. I don't know what it is. We sat down and she was struggling. Her father had passed away. And it was coming up to that time of the year and we were just talking about it and I was holding that space and she dropped on me that she wishes that her mother had died instead of her father. And I was like, you know, back then I definitely wasn't as good as like keeping a poker face. Yeah. And I was just like, oh shit. Like, and that's powerful. Like, that's a huge statement that she probably hasn't told anyone. And I think when you become a coach, personal trainer coach, you have to understand that it's in the name. It's personal training. You are going to become, you're going to become friends with this person. Like, they're going to tell you things. You need to be able to be so okay in yourself to hold that space, because that's like, not unfortunate, but fortunately, that's where a lot of transformation will happen. I can give you a program. If you're not ready to change, if you don't think you deserve the ability to hit these big numbers and it come with the success of it, it ain't going to do shit. I can tell you that. I've seen it plenty of times. 90% of what we do is 100%. Doesn't make sense. It's like that quote from Anchorman. It works 60% of the time every time.
It works 100% of the time.
But 90% of the time, it is just working with the person for them to identify them. Like, this is where you need to change. This is where we need to adapt. This is where we need to stop doing. This is what we need to stop doing to achieve. I thought you just put another like monster down and then just grabbed another monster.
There's another one on the desk though, ready to go for later.
Crazy.
I got to train after this, so I'll take.
Sorry, I just realized I'd be on the mic.
Take my pre-workout, iqsupplements.com.au. It's actually iqsups.net, but anyway.
Yeah, I
haven't yet.
Punch that, bro. I digress.
For one, I fucking love that. Everything you've just said, and I think we've worked out now through this episode how very, very, very similar our journeys are, our ideologies, our philosophies, all of it. I know where mine stems from, and I know you know where yours stem from. How much of you mentioned in there quite a few times about the journey and the discovery of self. Do you want to give people a little bit of an insight into your journey through that discovery, through the lessons you've learned? Because anyone who's listened to this podcast before, they've heard me talk about fucking almost the exact same thing. It's so weird, but I love it because this is like
100%.
Keep bringing people like this in.
I think it's like, for your listeners, apologies, because it is going to be a similar story. Obviously, probably different experiences. My journey through, I guess, self-discovery started as a child. Looking back now, I've done a lot of therapy over the last 7 years. Still shocked at how old I am now. Just kind of like went like that, anyways. It started my childhood. Lots of things in my childhood never sat well with me. My relationship with my dad was always strained, especially as I got into my teenage years. That's repaired now. We're like best mates, which is great. he calls me to tell me how cheap fuel prices in a certain place in Brizzy, and I love that. Or we follow the Broncos religiously, and we talk about that. So I have a really good relationship with him now. But my childhood wasn't that great. Like, I look at it now and go, didn't get the things that I need as a child. Whether it's, part of that reason being that my parents were part of a different generation where they probably had it harder, unfortunately just didn't have the tools or resources to deal with it that we have now. And that led to some like poor decisions I was in a very toxic relationship for a long time. Emotional abuse, sexual abuse that just unfortunately left me with a lot more damage than I looked at, I could accept, or even, what's the word, make sense of it, right? Because you're a young kid, young male, these things happen and you're like, well, I'm not supposed to be the victim of sexual abuse. I'm not supposed to be the victim of emotional abuse, and those stigmas. So you just kind of hide away from it, and that festered. And previous to my loving wife, who's the best thing that's ever happened to me, none of my relationships were successful, and it was none of their fault. I could never be completely open or myself in those things. And it's not their fault that I never felt safe. I never felt safe within myself, right? Because you kind of always go, when those things happen to you, you go, well, it's obviously my fault. And so growing up in my teenage years, I kind of always looked to things that were outside the normal. Like, my favorite bodybuilder of all time was Kai Green, for the same reasons that he was never just about sets and reps and things like that. Like, he wasn't gifted. He had to work hard. He had to, and he always looked at things. And I liked what you said in your podcast. Like, I always thought there was a higher power. I can't articulate what it is. Through some, introspection, my own spiritual journey, I think that's, you look at the universe, you look at the law of attractions and things like that. It's like, I always believe the universe will conspire for your success if you allow it to, but you got to get out your own way. I think going back, Kai Green was kind of that first introduction to that. I was like, oh, this guy's jacked, he's strong. And I had this obsession with being jacked and strong. Like, coming back from some of the things that I experienced in my childhood, I just needed to be strong. I needed to be resilient. That's what got me into training. But as you would know, all those things, you can make all these defenses around you as much as you like. They're going to come crashing down at some point. And the first time I experienced a full panic attack, there is a history of anxiety in my family. I look back at my family history and it kind of makes sense. But the first time I've ever experienced anxiety was when I changed schools in grade 5. First term of grade 5, I just cried the whole time. I wouldn't get out of the car. It was the worst traumatic experience. Like, for me at that age, being 9, 10, didn't understand it, could never get through it. Later in the years, it became very, like, early 20s. I remember training, me and my mate, and shout out to this bloke, Sam Bandera. He owns a gym called Renegade down in Brizzy, up in Brizzy. We used to train together like 4 or 5 a.m. Good life, fucking just ripping it, 2 bros getting after it. A double scooped pre-workout that morning. We were getting after it, and all of a sudden I just fucking panicked. When I'm under like an incline barbell. And then he's had to rip it off me, and I've just gone to this room that we had for like skin folds and stuff, and just started bawling. And I was like, oh, fuck, this isn't good. Like, what the hell's going on? And he was brilliant and just kind of held that space for me. And that's when it started to unravel. Poor decisions led to more poor decisions because I would, again, just avoid it. Like, I masked a lot of pain through performance-enhancing drugs. Again, just trying to feed into this thing that I needed to be strong, I needed to be resilient, I needed to be, the bigger I was, the safer I was. That was how I linked the two, right? And I know you can relate to that. So I just kept going and going, and I started seeing a therapist. Made some poor decisions in relationships based off my relationship history. Like, again, it's some of the biggest regrets I hold of not treating people with the respect they deserved. And it all came undone, unfortunately, when I first met my wife back in 2017, because he was someone that could see through all that, who was just the most and is the most amazing person I've ever met in my life. Most empathetic, holds a safe place for me, is my safe place constantly. That I was like, this is the first person I've ever just really could let my guard down, but that scared the shit out of me. It unraveled from there. So like that's when self-harm became a big thing for me. And she had to witness that. I can't play footy ever again because I've given myself that many concussions, which was a hard pill to swallow. Because I loved the game. That was my first love. Like, powerlifting's great. NRL for me is everything.
Yep.
So obviously I found that out years later, but she had to witness that, and I can't imagine how hard that is for someone to witness. The person they love just constantly batter themselves and not understand why. I didn't understand why at this time. So about 2018, I started seeing a psychologist, medicated at this stage as well. And that's when I guess it started to make sense, started to piece together. It took me a while to find a psychologist that I fucking gelled with, right? Like, if anyone's been through that journey, it can be tough. Like,
yeah,
there's no point seeing a psychologist because the GP recommended this one if you can't talk to them. So started seeing a psychologist, and had some quick wins. Fell back into some, I guess, masking habits through performance enhancing drugs. Once I started, like, I'm going to compete again because this will fix everything. Competing will fix everything. And like, I was so focused on, I had this big mission in work, like, because I knew what Epic could be. Epic could really transform people's lives, so they didn't have to avoid this. They didn't have to go through what I did. Obviously, back then I couldn't really articulate that because I hadn't done the necessary work. So I started seeing psychologists, and it was like the toughest thing I've ever done. It got better, then it got worse because, again, I just fucking jammed more testosterone in me, and I thought that would fix it. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And then it got to a point in 2021, just after COVID, it just got bad. Like, my mental health was at its worst. I was at my strongest. I had my best competition ever. My wife and I were seeing a couple of psychologists to try and, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but we were just like, how can we help? And that's where we found this really good psychologist. So I started seeing a psych in 2018. It wasn't until 2021 where I found this one psychologist who just opened everything up for me. And it just poured out of me. And it just came out in waves. It was the worst thing I've ever been through. My wife and I had a bit of a break in that time. And the pain I felt then is why I'm still here, in the sense that I will never, like, watching her leave was the hardest thing that's ever happened to me, and knowing it's my fault and rebuilding from that spot. Like, I just never wanted to be in that space again. So I had these, like, I've always believed we work towards pain, and we work away from pain towards pleasure. They're your two motivating factors in life, guarantee it. I just never wanted to feel the way I felt again. The universe works in mysterious ways. At this stage, I was living with my parents because I couldn't afford. I had nothing in the bank. I had rent, so the business was going well. I had two coaches working with me at this point. We were leaking money, and I had gotten some advice that didn't pan out. The way I set up the business, I was bleeding money. So I was living with my parents. I was 28 years old at this stage. I had no money, no savings, no nothing. I spent it. I had maxed out credit cards. I was just buying gear left, right, and center back in the day. All this shit, just couldn't pay it off. Was not smart with money. And I was like, similar to your story in the sense, you're like, I'm going to go back and play footy, right? I'd done my best comp. I ticked off what I wanted to tick off at that point in time. I want to go back and play footy. I knew I had some issues around with the concussions and stuff. I was like, no, I'm going to do this. Second training session, rupture my Achilles.
I remember that.
And I remember it was a Tuesday night in June. I'm in the Prince Charles Hospital. My legs fucked. I had to call my dad. So I was obviously living with my parents. And this is the most embarrassing thing. One of the most embarrassing things. But I've ruptured my Achilles. And I know I've done it. I'm like, I can't drive. It's my right foot. Dad, he answers like, what's up? He's like, aren't you at training? I'm like, yep. He's like, what's wrong? And I was like, can you and mum come get me? They can't get an ambulance on the field. No one had a key for the gate. I was like, fuck. Mum, Dad, can you come get me, take my car back home and take me to hospital? They're like, fuck, right. Anyways, they come down, take me up. By the time we get to the hospital, the pain's really fucking kicked in. Holy, like, it was, I remember hearing it. The sound still haunts me. But you don't feel anything. Obviously, there's no nerves there. It's all like severed. My foot just flopped. Like I could bring it up and then it would just flop. And I was like, fuck. It wasn't until 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, when we're at the hospital, obviously adrenaline's starting to come down, the swelling's increased, and there was a physio in the team. Worst thing he did was like just leave the boot on. By the time we got to the hospital, I couldn't get the boot off. They had to like cut it, rip it off, and the pain was just unbearable. And like, what do you do? But as I said, the universe conspires because I'm sitting in this hospital bed. It's by this stage 11 p.m. at night, high on fucking morphine, everything they've given me to handle the pain. And I'm just like, fuck. I'm alone because my parents had to go home. I'm alone. I'm in this dark fucking room surrounded by some randos with these machines beeping. I open my bank account and I'm negative $642 in my account, my business account. I'm like, great. And I just remember I opened up my laptop. I don't know why my mum brought me my laptop. I don't know, but grateful she did. And I just started typing. This is not how my story's supposed to end. I'm not going to go down the same rabbit hole. I'm not going to go try and kill myself. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I will never experience this pain again. And from there, that rupture of my Achilles became this like complete incision of my life from who I was to who I am now. And that healing process forced me obviously to understand my own limitations, but now be compassionate and empathetic towards myself in my own healing, because I could not do. It was so fucked that like I tied how much self-worth I had was all tied to my work at that stage. Within 24 hours of that, I was back in Valhalla wrapping knees, because if I didn't do that, if I didn't have any sort of worth, I really wasn't sure how I was going to get through the next day. So I was in this fucking plaster cast because they didn't have moon boots at the hospital, wrapping people's knees and then getting someone else's spot and was like, no, okay, I've still got some value. It was that I was like, I can build off this. I'd done some previous work with like self-help coaches, whatever you want to call them, who gave me some really good foundational ideas. The work I did in those next 3 months with my therapist around obviously dealing with my own trauma, doing talk therapy, EDM therapy. Is it EDM? Not EDM, that's the dance music. EMDR.
Yeah.
Therapy, like eye movement stuff, like therapy, whatever. That's where things started to change. And I read a book. This was still 2021, so we were still having spontaneous lockdowns, right? Well, Brisbane was about to go into another lockdown. I was living with my parents. I'm on crutches, couldn't get anywhere. But my wife, who obviously wasn't with me at the time, but she told me about this book called The Resilience Project. And that book changed my life, right? I've never been much of a reader. For one reason, I didn't have glasses when I was younger. I didn't know I needed glasses. So it took me forever. I've read this book in the 2-day lockdown. I couldn't put it down. Its message, its meaning was so simple. The way he articulated it. So the author, Hugh Van Cuylenberg. And this book changed my life. The Principles of Gratitude, Empathy, and Mindfulness. I immediately bought their journal. And that was another process of healing everything that's happened. I'm now very proud of the fact that I'm 1,527 days straight of gratitude journaling, which is just insane to me. Like, it crept up and I was like, 1,500, holy fuck, that's huge.
It's a big fucking number.
It's a huge number. And like, my life now, like, I'm beyond grateful. And so privileged for the work, those experiences, because all through that self-discovery, that self-journey, the healing, as shit as it was, has given me this life now. My wife and I, happily married. We got a fur child together. Business is in the best position it's ever been. I'm working in my dream job across 2 assets. Like, I get to help people every day. I'm working with the boys at Redcliffe. We were in the grand final last year. We're in a prelim final this weekend as well. So it's just like, where I am now is a tribute to all that work I did 1,500 days ago. That has allowed me, as we said at the very start of this podcast, like, to understand myself better, but allowed me to communicate better with those around me. I have so much more empathy for people in what they're going through in their own journey. But also, like, what's the word? It just gives me a good understanding in life now that it's not that bad. I've been to a 10 out of 10. Most things in my life now, when problems arise that, you know, someone else might deem a 8 out of 10, I'm like, it's a 4. We're good. Nothing in my life will be as hard as those previous days.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if that answers your original question.
Honestly, like, firstly, I want to say thank you for sharing that with me, with everyone. Because, again, like, social media, you only ever see a snapshot.
Yeah.
And I have followed your journey for a very, very, very long time now. And I've always loved, and whether you know this or not, you've actually been one of my biggest inspirations for sharing more of the vulnerability, sharing more of that side of things, being open with people and seeing, well, you've been so successful and you're doing these things. It's like that highlighted to me that, like, I can do that and still be successful. I can do that and still achieve the things I want to achieve. And I remember when I was going back to footy, and it's so strange because one of my thoughts was, I hope I don't do what you did. Like, your Achilles 100%. Came to my mind because you were the only other person I'd known at that point that has gone from powerlifting back to a sport, and I was fucking stressing.
I will say you did it the right way. I listened to you when I was listening to it. You like dropped 20, I think it was 20 keg.
Yeah.
You obviously prepped your body for it.
That was literally the inspiration. I was like, if I'm going to do this, and it's...
Like, I should have known better, by the way, FYI. Like, hindsight's a beautiful thing, and I definitely should have understood, but...
Do as I say, not do as I do. Yeah. You mentioned in there with relation to using PEDs as almost like a badge of honor for what you were trying to do at the time, for where you were at, for, like, trying to, the bigger you got, the more safer you felt. And
which actually didn't eventuate, as I'm sure everyone listening could have probably worked out.
Funny that, because it's not something I've openly spoken about a great deal of times on the podcast. I'm very open that I'm not natural.
Yeah.
I've never gone into great detail in general about it. But very, very, very similarly, when I was at my biggest, when I was at my strongest, when I was running the most gear I'd ever ran, I was the most mentally unwell. And I put myself through some incredibly dark places, emotionally, physically, everything, to get to that point. And then when everything sort of came crashing down last year, and like my whole sort of transitional journey kind of thing, one of the things that really spoke to me at that point was I said to myself I'd only ever continue to compete in powerlifting if I was willing to push the needle physically, mentally, etc. That included PEDs. And I said to myself when it got around that time, I was like, I got given my latest protocols from my coach at the time. I looked at it all, I mapped it out, and I was like, no. I just straight up, I was like, no. It's like, I'm not willing. I can't do this to my body anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to put myself through that because I know that it's not helping me. As much as I tried to say for years, it doesn't affect me like this. I'm fine. I'm the same as I was. Like, I know that it did.
Yeah.
I had comments from people that were living with me at the time when they knew when I was running certain compounds, how it had affected me. And I just said to myself, I was like, I don't ever want to let myself get back to the person I was because I don't like that person.
100%.
And then that's when the journey to footy came into play. And I was just like, go back to the thing that I grew up loving. I played it for 14 years of my life. It was my entire childhood. It was my entire teenage years. It kept me in school. It kept me going. It kept my head on straight. It kept me out of trouble. It kept me from drinking and drugs as a kid. It like kept me so straight and narrow. I was like, just go back to the thing I loved, and whether it worked or whether it didn't, I was like, I've got two options. I can either go and play or I can go the S&C route because I'm quite good friends with the high performance manager for Southport Sharks. And he's like, dude, you ever need a job? You want to come and work with me? You let me know and I'll like take you on. I've got access to these things. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go fucking try. Like, I'm never going to know, I'm only 29, turned 29 this year. It's like, I'm never going to know unless I go and try. And I did. And I fucking I remember sitting there, and by that point it had been about 6 months of me prepping for it, just losing weight and trying to figure out how to move again.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great still. I was still about 100 kilos when I started. And it was like the second training session, and we were just one of those like nice February nights, just the sun's hitting right. And I was just sitting there and I just like had this insane wave of gratitude just hit me. And I was like, this is where I'm meant to, what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm meant to be. And I don't think playing footy is going to be there for me forever, but I believe it was the catalyst for change in a whole range of different areas.
Yeah. I was exactly the same, man.
And since this year of transitioning and going back to it and going back to a psychologist again, even though I was doing really well, business was going great. Personally, I was enjoying life. I felt like I was in a really good spot with a lot of things that I'd taught myself through readings, through podcasts, through learnings. And I was like, I'm in a really good spot. Now's the best time to go back to a psychologist to continue to capitalize on this. Yeah. Instead of going there when I'm like, hey, I want to neck myself. It's like, hey, I don't actually want to neck myself. I fucking love life, but there are still a few things that show up that I really want to work through and work on. And furthermore to that, one of the guests that I actually had on here, who was like my third or fourth guest, again, the universe bringing people into your life that just, it knows you need. Travis Cochran, the mindset technician. This week, actually, I finally started with him as a client of his. And he's very much of the connection to the two worlds. There's a realist and there's the spiritual. And he very much blends the two in a way that like tickles my brain just right. Yeah. It's like, because there's, this yourself, like there's very spiritual woo-woo. Yeah. And there's very ultra realist. Yeah. Neither really works in my brain. The combination of the two is like, it just golden. Sets my mind on fire. And we had our first call the other night, and I just remember getting off it, and the only two words I could use to describe it was like freeing and driving. Yeah. It's like it freed something in me that I didn't really know how or why or whatever. And it put this like drive into me that I hadn't felt in so long. And I don't think enough people allow themselves to experience that. No, because as you pointed out, it's opposite end of the spectrum. Yes. Whereas everything, like, it's like anything, the truth or what's real is often in the middle, right? And it's just allowing yourself to be more open to those ideas of woo-woo, we'll call it, right?
don't have to go that far. Fuck, I don't. Whatever your provocative is,
I ain't charging my crystals in the
yeah,
moonlight.
yeah, bro. I'm not putting my asshole to red light.
No,
That's where I'm going to probably draw the line. But it's as I said, like it's often in the middle, and if you can understand that, what I believe, most areas of life are an incomplete study. We can't know everything about everything, but there's so much good in each of them. Creating this blend, as you just spoke of, between the realist and the spiritual, that's often where it will land for a lot of people. The first step is just being open to the fact that there's probably something you don't understand out there working with you. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. That's completely fine. Religious beliefs, as I said, like I came from a very traditional Christian Catholic Italian family. My mother still chirps me every Christmas why I don't go to church and all this sort of stuff, and I'm just like, doesn't affect you, mum. Like, what I believe is what I believe. I don't care if you go. She got the shits me to get married in church. Doesn't bother me, and that's how it kind of the I guess mindset I take to when I talk about most things to people who I could probably censor a bit more hesitant. It's just like, this is what I believe. And even in my coaching, like, this is what I believe. This is the best path that I can lay out for you. It's up to you whether you want to take it or not.
Yeah.
But once you do, it does become free.
100%. The more you open your mind, and one of the things that I believe definitely helped me on my journey within this is understanding that I do come from like a very black and white background, like tertiary education, high school, university, like the pathway you're supposed to follow. I've done the exercise science at uni. I've done all of that sort of shit.
Do you hate it?
I hated exercise science. It was the worst. It was the biggest waste of 3 years of my life. Yeah. But there's probably things that I learned within it that have helped me now, potentially.
Yeah.
I also learned how to juggle a lot of shit at once. Like it's...
I thought you meant like physically juggling.
Imagine if you... I mean, I might have.
It's what I see a lot of in sports teams these days. So.
A lot of like the spiritual teachers and the people that I listen to, they say whether it's God, Jesus, spirit, universe, there's no specific title to what this is. Even from a scientific perspective, at the core essence of everything we are as human beings, we are merely just atoms and dust vibrating together.
Yeah, literally.
That is it. If you want to be as sciencey as you possibly can, that is literally all we are. Everything that exists is atoms, just vibrating together at different frequencies. It makes sense that there's potential for those vibrations to coincide. There's 100%. Potential for those to repel. It's how it is. And I think once people start to have a bit more of an open mind around that, and even just as you mentioned with the daily gratitude and things like that, like
they're all...
I'm the exact same. Every single morning, the first thing I do every single morning when I start my day before I start work, I write an intention, I write 3 points of gratitude, and then I write my daily tasks.
Yeah.
Every morning. Sometimes I have to sit there and go, what am I grateful for today? You have to sometimes. Like there's literally a lot to be grateful for, but
I think people don't recognize that like that's a form of spiritual. It may not be the traditional form of spirituality in some practices. And I'll use the book I spoke of, The Resilience Project, which, by the way, I urge everyone to read or listen 100%.
To. 100%. Please read it. It's fucking fantastic.
Talks about how when he went to India, just on the border of Nepal, right? Every morning, the students would be not forced. There was an optional like prayer time, right? Where they, whatever form of spirituality, I don't want to butcher that, but they prayed. It wasn't a choice. It was a choice. They had the option to attend or not. They did, because it gave them that sense of what you do every morning or what I do right before I go to bed, of introspection. And that in itself is a powerful tool and almost like I don't want to say precursor, but you understand what I mean, around into spirituality. Because gratitude, being mindful, they're all basic forms of spirituality. They're all a point of taking a breath and stopping and being present, training. If you're mindful in your training about what you're trying to achieve, if you're intentful and then mindful of how you achieve that if you're mindful of your breathing when you're doing certain exercises, that could be deemed as a form of mindfulness. That could be deemed a form of meditation. We all probably practice it. We all just probably don't put that label to it, right? I don't know why we seem to be label adverse these days, which is fine. I get it. There's a label for everything. It can get confusing. But once you understand that, like, most people are already doing this in some shape or form, it's just now taking that next step and start critical thinking. Why am I doing this?
Yep.
As soon as you start asking why, the world really opens up, whether that be on very surface level coaching, whether that be supplements, whatever industry you're in. It all leads back to any industry. If you want to achieve success in any goal, even, it all leads back to starting to ask why. Why I do certain things. Once you understand self, you can start propelling yourself forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people really get trapped in on.
I honestly think that fucking summarizes it beautifully.
No, I
think that gives a really good understanding, and it's allowing yourself to question things. That why, right? Like it's not enough to just hear something. Don't just listen to somebody say you need to meditate for an hour a day every single day, and you need to write this list, and you need to do that. Question why you are doing it. What works for one might not work for everyone.
Yeah, also just question if it fits into your lifestyle.
Yeah, like it's not enough. You can't sit there and say to a busy mum with, single mum with 3 kids,
people will,
you need to meditate for 60 minutes and you need to practice, you need to ground yourself first thing in the morning, you need direct sunlight and you need this and you need that. And it's like,
that's great.
That mum's already up, made lunches, made breakfast, had to get the kids to school. She's on her way to work. She's like, where the fuck's she going to find the time for this? It's the same when the coaches say, you have to train 5 days a week and all this other shit, right? Like it's never going to fucking work. You give them something, they're going to fail from the day dot. And then it's like, well, why the fuck would I even bother? It's finding the area, the entry point, the thing that works for you. For me, one of my favorite ways of practicing mindfulness is every morning I go for a walk with Sammy at the beach. No headphones. 35 minutes. Strolling. That's it.
It's the best.
That for me starts my day every day perfectly. Come home, straight into my gratefulness. I'm on.
Yep. It's
for you writing what you're grateful for at the end of the day. Like that introspection, literally, that time with yourself.
It also just takes me out of, no matter how bad the day is, there's always something good in it.
Yeah.
Right? I can put my head, I've got a pretty specific routine when I go to bed. It's gratitude journal after I shower. It's sitting as I write that, and then I'll read like 10, 20 pages before I go to bed, no matter what. Just makes me sleep good, right? The same thing of a morning, though, as similar to what you said. If I have the opportunity, I will take my dog down the beachfront near us, and we'll go for a walk. No headphones. I don't like doing that with headphones. I want to watch the sunrise. I want to actually be present in the fact that, one, my dog is the happiest ever right now. Like, that's cool. Like, that's great. That's fulfilling. I'm walking along here, and it's beautiful watching the sunrise. I have my favorite coffee cup, and I just sit there. And I'm the same thing. It's just like, this is, how am I so lucky? And it's probably easy for a lot of people to look at that and go, how is he so lucky? And it's like, well, there was a lot of prior work to it. And a lot of that, we spoke about before, a lot of that time spent looking inwards first and critically thinking, going, why does this keep happening? Or why am I doing this? From the second you start asking why, in any facet of life, things will get better.
Be inquisitive.
And being curious. If there's anything my wife has taught me above anything else, and compassion, empathy, all that, she's the most curious person in the world. And it's one of the greatest qualities I could ever push or tell someone to be more of, is to be curious. Because it is just, the second I start asking more questions, and not just of myself, but I'm talking about in general, in conversation, the more curious you are, the better everything becomes. And I think social media, to go off a bit of a tangent, I unfollowed a lot of, or not unfollowed, but muted a lot of things, especially back when I was struggling, because I couldn't, I was happy for someone when they achieved something, but I couldn't understand why I wasn't happy or anything, and I had to actually shut myself off from that. Flip side of that, made my conversations really good. Because I could connect with someone differently. That's the one thing I hate when you have a conversation with someone's like, oh yeah, I saw that on your socials. Like it kind of it stops the conversation.
Yeah.
Right? But I started to realize like I wasn't following even some of my closest friends, which I struggled with, but then I'd be like, oh my God, you did that? That's so cool.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell me more about it. And all of a sudden I started realizing I was having these such really good connective conversations. So I don't follow many people, I'm sorry if that offends some people, but I'm just like, when I see you, I want to have a really good quality conversation. I want to be able to be like, dude, what's going on? And you tell me, man, I played AFL again. We made the finals. I was like, that's fucking gun. Man, I got the subs now, all this stuff. I'm like, that's insane. That's insane. Like those types of conversations are just so powerful. And I think that's where social media has ruined a lot of that, which we already knew. That's not rocket science.
We're all very connected, but we've lost the connectedness.
Yeah.
The deep connection.
Yeah, 100%.
The deep understanding. I'm like, fuck, I'm guilty of it. You see things and you're just like, man, I saw you do this. And it's like,
yeah.
But coming from it, when you don't know somebody's done something, you're like, it's that like curious. It's like,
fuck,
you're excited. Like, holy shit,
yeah.
dude, that's fucking sick. Like,
I'd much rather catch up with someone over a fucking good cup of coffee at a cafe and talk, like, get in that flow of just literally 3 hours pass by and you're like, man, that was so good to catch up. That means so much more to me than anything.
Fuck yeah. I love that. I love that. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for sharing everything.
I appreciate it, man. I'm at that stage where it's like, if it helps someone.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so fucking funny. It's just really highlighted how similar we actually are as just two people. Like it's fucking wild. Our journeys have been so similar in so many aspects. And we wouldn't have known that if we didn't
literally have this
conversation.
Right? And I think that's the beauty of it. Like, hopefully some people can take away and, man, it's been from that point of the Achilles rupture, it's been a big 4 years. And in the last 3 years, I've really put a lot on my plate especially with Redcliffe. Like, that's basically another full-time role. You add into your repertoire, what it's like being in those roles. But I've looked at my time and there, especially, and I'm like, fuck, I'm a very different human.
Yeah.
And if you want to be vulnerable, if you want to get really good at being vulnerable, go spend some time in a footy team. Go spend some time where you have to be okay with throwing shit on yourself and the banter and all that shit. You just grow.
It's different.
It's different. And I get what it can look like from the outside, but if you want to meet a really good example of connection, leadership, driven humans, go be in a high performance setting like that. It's one of the best things you'll ever do.
Fucking oath. Yeah, the diversity of the people within there is just the backgrounds, the learnings, the teachings, everything about it.
They've all got their own experiences.
100%.
And it's a great recipe. If you want to look at leadership of a community, just go look at any successful sports team, right? I was very lucky to be where I am right now with them. They've all got the same mission. They're all working towards that mission. No matter where you come from, who you are, you're all on board for that same mission, which creates values. That's how you create success in any team environment.
Yep.
I just think it's great.
It fucking is. It really is.
And community.
Community is the biggest thing. That was one of the main draw cards for me was working from home for myself. It's like I don't not around the gym as much. I don't see people as much.
Tough,
I lost
It's very tough.
I started to lose my ability to talk. Like I was like, that was one of the reasons with the potty too, was I'd started to notice I was not dumber, but just like my ability to communicate was just lessened. Because I was like, I might talk to a fucking Loom video for 5 minutes and then I don't talk for another hour.
Yeah, literally.
Or 2 hours. And for those listening at home, where can they find you? Where are we?
Obviously, Instagram's probably, I'm a lot more active on my socials. So it's at Brandon _epic coaching. We have the business one at epic _ coaching. Either or, reach out. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to point people in the right direction if they have any questions or just want to riff raff, whatever it may be. That's probably my easiest point of contact. Yeah, people find me there.
I'll pop them in the show notes. Semi just always knows when the back end of the potty's happening. He always wakes up.
Beautiful. So it's okay.
I'll put all those in the show notes for everybody. Before you go, there's 3 questions I ask everybody.
We used to do this too.
Yes. The first question is, what is one thing you would tell your younger self? It's one thing.
Be patient, it'll get better.
Second question. What is your favorite animal?
Dog. Yeah. I think dog from the sense, like, I wasn't a dog person growing up. Sorry, did I stop? I wasn't a dog person growing up. My mum unfortunately got attacked by a dog when she was younger, so we never had them. Now, I'm like fucking sitting here rubbing Sam's chin.
He loves it.
Dog, I think my spirit animal would probably be a gorilla, though.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the third person who said gorilla.
Oh, I love
that.
Yeah.
And it's actually really funny that the 2 other people who have mentioned gorillas being the spirit animal or the animal that represents them, all very similar journeys.
Yeah.
There's something in that.
I don't know anything about it. Like, if someone's listening and they know why, please reach out. But
there has to be something. There's no coincidences in this world. And the last one, what does strength mean to you?
I thought you saved a good one for the last one. That's a tough one. Obviously, I've built the fucking whole career around being strong, but strength to me is just being resilient these days. We use it as a principle in sports all the time, but if you're also... So I'll steal Jordan Shallow's greatest definition of strength is the ability to produce force. Strength is the ability to produce force, right? That feeds into everything else. Your ability to be resilient, whether on a surface level being strong in contact in a contact sport or something like that, or being resilient, mentally strong, whatever it is. I think strength is resilience. And that's what it probably means to me.
Beautiful. Yeah, honestly, man, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming down. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for jumping on.
My pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. And I said, I love what you're doing. Listening to the podcast as well. Like, I'm absolutely loving the content. I think you should be very proud of yourself and what you've got coming as well. I've seen your journey over the last fucking 5 years, and to be where you are now here, it's pretty incredible, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's good. And I hope anybody who is listening at home, I know for a fact there's a fucking lot of takeaways within that. And yeah, just want to thank you all for listening. If you've made it to this point, I will put all of Brandon's info in the show notes. You'll be able to find him when I put it up on Instagram. I'll also tag Collab. You'll be able to find him through there as well. Very easy to find on socials. But for now, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.